Welcome everyone to part 2 of our PvE Fire Mage class breakdown. Now in this video we will be going over gemming, enchanting, and reforging, as well as the basic rotation for a Fire Mage. To start things off, we're going to go ahead and get right into our gemming. Now for your headpiece, you're going to have a meta gem. With that meta gem, there are two different gems that you're going to have to choose from. One of them is the Ember Shadowspirit Diamond, which is the plus 54 Intellect and plus 2% maximum mana, or the Burning Shadowspirit Diamond, which is plus 54 Intellect and plus 3% critical strike damage. With your following gem, which would most likely be the red gem, you have only one to choose from, and that is the Brilliant Inferno Ruby. Now, if you are a jewels crafter, then it would be the Brilliant Chimera's Eye. But keep in mind that if you are a jewels crafter and you are using the Chimera's Eye, you can only have 3 of them in that set of gear at a time. I'm sure you already know that, but it doesn't hurt to tell you. Next up, we have the yellow. That's right, we have the yellow jewels. There is only one jewel that you're going to have to choose from for the yellow sockets, and that is the Potent Ember Topaz. This is the plus 20 intellect and plus 20 critical strike rating for your yellow socket. Keep in mind that crit is insanely important for a fire mage, because without crit you couldn't get your pyroblast proc or anything of that, or your ignite or anything to that sort. So make sure that you have as much crit as possible. And last but not least, we have our blue diamonds. There are 3 different ones to choose from, but it all depends on whether you're hit capped or not. If you are not hit capped, you need to go ahead and use the Veiled Demon's Eye. This is the plus 20 intellect and plus 20 hit rating. Over crit, over intellect, over everything, hit rating is most important. If you are going to be rating, you need to make sure that your hit cap is all the way. Okay, so I will get more into that and explain how we can get hit capped as a fire mage when I get into the reforging. But if you are already hit capped after reforging, then what you want to go ahead and use is there are 2 options. You either have the Timeless Demon's Eye, which is a plus 20 intellect and plus 30 stamina, or you want the Purified Demonseye, Eye, which is plus 20 intellect and plus 20 spirit. I definitely recommend going after the Timeless Demon's Eye because spirit really is more of a healer, but that's my personal preference. You're more than welcome to do what you want. Those are the different gems that you're going to go ahead and use when it comes to gemming your gear. Next up, we have enchanting. Now, for our head socket, you need to be exalted with Mount Hyjal. You want to get the Arcanum of Hyjal. This will give you plus 60 intellect and plus 35 critical strike rating for your headpiece. Afterwards, you need to be exalted with Deep Home to go ahead and get greater Inscription of Charged Lodestone for plus 50 intellect and plus 25 haste rating. Afterwards, we move down to our cloak. Now this is technically your own preference. You can either do plus 50 intellect or plus 65 crit. Personally, I like intellect because intellect increases spell power, but that is your own choice. For our chest piece, we want the plus 20 all stats enchant. For our bracers, we want plus 65 crit rating or plus 50 hit rating if you are not hit capped. If you are hit capped, then you want the plus 65 critical strike rating. For our weapon, we want Power Torrent, because Power Torrent increases our intellect by 1000 whenever it procs. Although, if you are using a one-hander and an offhand, then you still want Power Torrent on your sword or your dagger, but for your offhand, you would want plus 40 Intellect. You can go ahead and leave your wand alone. For our hands, we want plus 40 Haste rating. You can leave belt alone. For our pants, you want, which is plus 95 Intellect and plus 80 Stamina. It is also known as the Powerful Enchanted Spellthread, which is made by tailors, so you can either gather the mats or you can go ahead and buy one off the auction house, or if you're a tailor, make one yourself. For your boots, if you are not hit capped, you want plus 50 hit rating, but if you are, then go ahead and throw on plus 50 haste rating. To those of you enchanters out there, go ahead and add plus 40 intellect onto both of your rings. Okay, now comes the reforging. Reforging is a little bit trickier. We're going to go ahead and start with making sure that you are hit capped. If you come across gear that has crit on it, that has a critical strike rating on it, and either has mastery or haste, take that secondary stat and turn it into hit rating. But if you have an item that has mastery or haste and hit rating on it, so it's already got hit rating on it, you want to either take mastery or haste and turn that into crit. I recommend turning mastery into crit because haste means you can cast faster. But mastery then again does have somewhat of a part, but out of mastery and haste, I recommend keeping haste. But if you have something that is haste and hit, turn that haste into crit. You want as much crit as you can possibly get. That is what you need for when it comes to reforging. Okay, I'll say it again. If you have an item with crit on it and it doesn't have hit, and you are not hit capped, then what you need to go ahead and do is turn the mastery or haste stat into hit rating. But if you come across something that has mastery or haste and hit rating, then you want to go ahead and turn that mastery or haste into crit. Keep in mind that the secondary part still applies with you being hit capped. You don't want it, like if you have gear that already has hit on it, leave it alone. Don't bother, just leave it alone and just worry about the mastery and haste. You want as much crit as you can possibly get. That is the basic breakdown for gemming, enchanting, and reforging your gear. Next up, we're going to go ahead and go over the basic rotation for a fire mage. Now keep in mind, all of this information will be in the description in case you want to come back and keep it in mind, okay? Let's go ahead and get ourselves together just for max DPS or whatever, or max crit. Now to start things off, you always want to go with Living Bomb. Living Bomb is your first priority. Afterwards, you can go ahead and spam Firebolt, Fireball, or Scorch. I recommend putting Scorch up to get that critical that critical mass up, and then once you do that, you can use Fireball. Remember to keep your Living Bomb up, which I was not doing. Keep using this, and you want to make sure that you want that Pyroblast proc to pop up, because if it doesn't, then what's the point? And now here is where Combustion comes in. Once you have your Ignite or your Living Bomb up, throw out your Pyroblast, and then you want to go ahead and throw up Combustion. That will give it mass DPS. Now, what I recommend getting for an add-on is Combustion Helper. This will tell you when to go ahead and throw up your Combustion once all of your Ignites and everything like that are up. Okay? So, afterwards, you go ahead and just spam this rotation and you will own them to the ground. Just, follow the tactics needed, and you will get what you need done. That, you guys, is the basic rotation as a fire mage in a PvE scenario. I hope this helped. If you guys have any class recommendations or requests, please let me know and I will do my best to get it to you. I will see you guys next time.